morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here with us at Mystic Fitness. Happy Sunday morning. The sun is being a little shy this morning, but I think it's going to poke its head out. So my name is Kelly Mays, and I teach at Mystic Fitness. And I do a couple virtual classes throughout the week as well on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I hope you guys enjoyed your power class yesterday. Good morning, Suzanne. I love that you tune into us on Instagram. We're so happy to have you. Good morning. Morning, Caitlin. So we're just here getting set up. I went for a big hike yesterday in New Hampshire. I always screw up the name, Monadnock, Mount Monadnock. It was absolutely beautiful. Never been up it before, and my thighs reminded me of what a beautiful hike it was this morning. So I am very much looking forward to this class to get my own stretch as well. Good morning, Nisa, Tom. Happy Sunday. Thank you guys for joining us. And we're going to get started shortly, but I wanted to let you guys know that we are still uploading to our YouTube channel every single day. So as soon as we finish with our classes, Amy gets busy and uploads all of that content onto our YouTube channel. So please let your friends and family know, the ones that don't use Facebook or Instagram, that there is a way that they can still access our content by going on YouTube, looking at Mystic Fitness, taking a look at our videos, seeing if any resonate with them. And if you guys like our YouTube channel, you can give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel so that you get notifications of all of our posts. It's funny, Tom, on Facebook it said you said hola and it says see translation. So I think that's kind of funny. So as you guys know, if you are financially inclined or moved to make a donation to Mystic Fitness, you can go to our Venmo account. Look us up using our name, Mystic Fitness, our username. And any size donation, you're going to get these beautiful handmade masks. And Mary Beth has been so hard at work providing the community with these masks to keep us safe and healthy. And as you guys know now, you do have to wear a mask when you are exiting your house and going into the public. So it's good to have a couple of them. That way you can wash them and reuse them. So really wonderful mask here. I've washed this several times and it is good as new. So I wish I could just sit and talk all day with you guys, but we do have some work to do. We got to get our yoga in. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So find your way onto your mat. Take a couple of breaths to just kind of figure out if your body wants to lay down or find a seated position. And the official start of our class will be seated, so if you prefer to kind of migrate your way there, you can find your way onto your seat. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Allow your eyes to soften. Allow your breath to have intention, but also be natural. Notice that expansive energy as you inhale and really feel this opening starting from the lowermost belly, reaching all the way up towards the chest and collarbones. And the exhale is just ridding yourself of what no longer serves you and letting that energy slowly soften back down into the belly. Inhale, rise that energy up. Maybe you start imagining this stream of light reaching all the way up through the body to the crown. And then with the exhale, that light travels back down that channel all the way into the lowermost root chakra. Breathing it in Maybe this time that light expands out of the crown, reaching up to the cosmos. Your exhale, pulling all of that magic and energy back down and into your physical body, returning back to the earth. So this breath pattern, this imagery of that light beaming up and out, and then coming all the way back down. This beautiful marriage between earth and air. This marriage of stability, earth, ground. And then the freedom, that atmosphere, the air, the cosmos, all above you, consciousness. With your next inhale, slowly start to reawaken the body. Let the chest expand, wiggle the toes and fingers. If you are laying down, you can choose to remain there and find some movements, or you can slowly pick yourself back up into your seat. We'll begin practice together with the sound of Om once you arrive. Wherever you are, bringing your hands over heart. Perhaps setting an intention for your class. Perhaps this morning it's that marriage between earth and air. Beginning our practice with the sound of Om, starting with the cleansing breath. Breathe in and out. And for Om. Have an inspired practice. We'll go ahead and start by warming up our wrists and shoulders for some weight bearing this morning. So go ahead and inhale, circle, sweep the arms up. And then roll at the wrists here, just kind of opening and closing the palms and fingers. It's very important that we warm our wrists up. These are, not weight bearing joints. And in our practice, we do end up using them to bear some weight. So we want to make sure that we warm them up, preventing any future injuries from occurring. And it might not seem like we're doing a lot in the moment, but once you get onto your hands and knees, you're going to feel so much more prepared for your practice. Go ahead and shake the hands out. Imagine any anxiety that you are experiencing just kind of flicking off of the fingers, ridding yourself of all of that stale energy. And this is such a good movement to do if you're ever in a stressful situation and you have a minute to just kind of step outside of it. Get rid of all that stale energy. Bringing the fingertips onto the shoulders and then just spreading your wings, kind of rotating the shoulders up and away from the ears. And the fingertips don't have to stay confined to the shoulders if they kind of naturally start to open up here. And taking that in the opposite rotation. And then we will come into our table pose. So go ahead and find your way onto all fours. Wrists stacked below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Starting with some cat and cows this morning. Inhale, dropping the chest, gazing forward. And with the exhale, curling and rounding through the spine as you press the floor away and curl the chin in towards the chest. Inhale, open and arch. Open your throat. Exhale, curl and round, compressing back in, spreading the upper back apart. And in our yoga practice, we tend to take these cat and cows pretty often, but I'm inviting you to take them as if you've never experienced this movement before. So you might become a little bit more organic here, maybe rocking the hips from side to side, even taking some circles, kind of dropping the chest towards the left and then rolling it towards the right. And then in the opposite direction. So we're kind of finding some circling cat and cows here. Almost like a little dance move. And then you can incorporate into the hips, maybe dropping back into a gentle child's pose and then pressing forward, kind of opening into a gentle upward facing dog. This can also be taken on the forearms, so kind of pressing yourself back and then pressing yourself forward. And again, this is the beginning of our practice, so we're not going too deep in any of our movements. Finding some hip circles here, rotating that pelvic bowl around in a big circle. Maybe this morning it looks more like a figure eight or a half circle. And these movements at the beginning of our class are also an opportunity to kind of check in with where the body is feeling tight. So I'm sure you guys can attest, after you take a nice big long hike, you're going to feel it in your quads. So I'm just kind of paying attention to that, noticing that my quads are feeling a little sore, taking that extra moment to really warm them up here, pressing back and forth, even coming into a gentle little upward facing dog motion. And then sinking your way back into a child's pose. The knees can be as close together or as far apart as you desire. Maybe you play around with how that changes this posture. And then walking the hands over towards the left side of your mat, pressing the hips to the right side of your mat so that you're getting this nice big stretch through the right side body. Breathe into that side stretch. And exhale, soften. Walking the fingertips back to the center and then over to the right side of your mat, pressing the hips more towards the left. Now we're finding that same stretch through the left side of the body, and it might feel drastically different here. Breathe into the stretch and soften with the exhale. Coming all the way back to center, finding your table pose. Let's activate our core by tucking the toes under and lifting the knees to just a hover. So we're really trying to pull that belly in, but making sure that the breath isn't kind of stuck as we pull the belly in. So we're tensing the core, but we're not tensing through our breath. That becomes nice and natural. Breathe in, engage through the quads and thighs. And exhale, release. Inhale, arch the spine. Exhale, curl the spine. One more here. Inhale, arch and open. Exhale, curl. Let's find that core activation one more time here. Tuck those toes under. Lift the knees to just a hover. And to bump this up a notch, we'll take some toe taps. So extending the right toes to the back of the mat and then bringing it back. Left toes towards the back and return for 10, 9. Try to keep those hips stable. So the only thing moving is the legs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold through the center. Inhale. With the exhale, hips pull up and back. Downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out. Walk your dog here. So we're stretching through the calves as well as the hamstrings. Getting a little activation through the arches of the feet here as well. You just find some natural breath as you explore this downward facing dog. And it's not all about the legs here, right? Make sure those hands are spread, the fingers are spread far apart from one another so that you can really activate the hands into the earth. Shoulders are pulling down and away from the ears. You may even consider shaking the head yes and no to kind of notice if you're holding any tension through the neck. If downward facing dog is not available for you yet this morning, you can always continue to warm up in your table pose. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. And then bend and extend that leg a couple times. Open and close the hip. You might even find some big circles throughout the hip, lengthening the right leg and just kind of rotating it in one direction and then in the other direction. Returning back to your downward facing dog, inhale, left leg sweeps up to the sky. Bending and extending the left leg this time. Opening and closing the hip. Maybe finding those big leg circles. And then in the opposite direction. Returning back to your downward facing dog, running through our sun salutation. Inhale, bending the knees, gazing forward. Exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward fold. Start here with a deep bend in the knees. Shake the head yes and no. Maybe coming into your ragdoll by grabbing onto opposite elbows and finding a nice sway. Inhale for a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Let's find one more halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, push through the feet, circle sweep the arms, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Let's pause here. I want you to bring the arms alongside the body and then just empty coat sleeve them side to side. So we're getting some gentle twisting through the spine, especially that lower back. And we're just kind of letting the arms be like noodles here, finding some gentle lymphatic movement, getting the blood flowing a little bit. Any tension you brought onto your mat this morning, this is a perfect opportunity to just let it all go. Letting your arms slow down naturally, so just let them kind of start to calm back down. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. And exhale, hands to heart, hinging from the hips, forward folds. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands plant, stepping back to your plank pose, 1 foot at a time, or finding a little hop. From here, choosing to keep those knees lifted or dropping them for your first chaturanga here. Inhale. Exhale, lower halfway or all the way. Inhale, up dog or that low cobra. And with the exhale, downward facing dog. So if you guys ever have any questions about that chaturanga, there is a little informational video that I posted on Mystic Fitness Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So you guys can always refer to that to decide what version of chaturanga works best for you. Because sometimes in our hour-long classes, we do kind of fly through those motions a little fast. Let's go ahead and find one more, a little bit faster this time. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. And exhale, hands to heart. Ground with the inhale. Let it go. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up, lengthen. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands plant, stepping back to your plank pose. Breathe in. With the exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. Whatever you're doing, really open up that chest. Keep the chin gently tucked. And exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. And then with the exhale, curl the knee in towards the chest. Inhale, lengthen right leg back up. Exhale, knee to chest. Step to that runner's lunge. Pausing in our runner's lunge here, so allowing the feet to be hip distance apart. Right toes come towards right hand. Let's start by bending the left knee to the ground and just finding some back and forth presses through that right leg. So I love this kind of variation of movement because as we lengthen through the right leg and send the hips back, you're going to notice that deep hamstring stretch. And as you bend the right knee and press the hips forward, now you're accessing the quad and left hip flexor. So just luxuriate in this movement for like 2 or so more breaths, moving at a pattern that works best for you. And you might find a sweet spot along the way that you just kind of want to hold for a moment. All right, party's over. Let's get back into our strengthening here by returning back to our runner's lunge, tucking left toes under, lifting that knee so that we're in a proper runner's lunge here, bringing the fingertips onto the block so that you can lift that chest up off of your thigh a little bit. Keeping the left fingertips onto your block, reaching right arm up towards the sky for a twist here. The power of this twist comes from that right heel pressing into the earth and the thighs pulling towards one another. We're making sure this twist is coming from the left rib cage, rotating over towards the right, rather than letting that left hip drop with us. So sometimes when we go into poses really fast, we kind of fall into dysfunction. So the slower you take it, the more you can really engage and pay attention to all of the subtleties of this posture. Breathe in one more breath. With the exhale, come back to center. Reach up into your crescent lunge. Arms pull up overhead. Bringing the arms into goalpost arms. And I'd like to run through a little bit of spinal movement in our crescent lunge. So if you need to pause for a moment and take a look into your device, you can go ahead and take a look. What we're going to be going for is bringing the arms into goalpost. With the inhale, we're going to open up the chest, peel the arms or shoulders towards one another so that you're kind of arching through the spine. And then with the exhale, we're going to come into that cat-like posture by pulling the elbows towards one another, tucking the left knee in, and kind of tucking the pelvis under. So make it as dramatic as you like. Inhale is peeling open. This is kind of like your cow pose, arching through that spine. And then with the exhale, bending in the left knee and kind of pulling the belly in. Inhale, open up, find that cow pose. Exhale, cat. Breathe in and out. It's also kind of like that chest press machine at the gym where you're kind of using that resistance of pulling the elbows towards one another and then spreading them apart. Notice how my left knee is incorporating some movement. As I tuck in for that cat pose, my knee is bent. And as I inhale and open my chest, I lengthen through the left leg. Let's find 2 more rounds here. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. Last one, inhale and exhale. Inhale, arms reach up, return back to your crescent lunge. And then with the exhale, hinging forward, let the hands plant. Step right foot up and back for a 3-legged dog. Open your hip here by bending the knee, dropping right heel over towards the left glute. If you like, this week we did work a lot on our flip dog, so you might start to bend in that left knee until the right toes land to the earth, pressing the hips up in your flip dog as the right fingertips either reach up towards the sky or overhead. Breathe in. With the exhale, we're going to dismount by bending the knees, reaching right leg back up to the sky for our 3-legged dog. Either choosing to land in a plank pose with both feet on the ground or extending forward in a 3-legged plank. Engage through the right toes all the way to the glute. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog for 2 breaths in and out. Inhale, left leg reaches up to the sky. Exhale, curl the knee in towards the chest. Inhale, lengthen it up and back once again. Exhale, knee to chest, step to your runner's lunge. So that left foot comes towards left hand. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart. Bend that right knee until it hits the earth, and we'll find those back and forth presses here. Now, blocks underneath the hands and this posture as well is a beautiful way to kind of keep that chest lifted. So as you extend through that left leg, press the hips back. We're accessing that left hamstring this time. As we bend the knee and press the hips forward, now we're getting that pretty deep stretch to the right hip flexor and quad. So just finding these movements here, kind of finding the delight in the openings that are naturally occurring through movement. Find one more breath. We'll return back to our strong, stable runner's lunge by tucking right toes under, lifting that knee back up, finding your proper runner's lunge. And again, if your feet are kind of in this one line with each other, you're not going to have a very stable posture. So I want you to make sure the feet are hip distance apart. Left heel and foot plugs into the ground. Right fingertips on your block. Slowly open up to that runner's lunge twist with the left arm reaching up to the sky. Depending on your shoulder flexibility, this might not feel comfortable, and instead you might bring the left palm onto the thigh, left palm onto left thigh, and use that to open yourself up. Notice how if you are not engaged through that left foot, that right hip wants to twist with you, but if you engage strongly into both legs, now that twist is coming from the right rib cage only. Breathe in. Exhale, come back to center. Use your core connection and strength through the legs to pick yourself up to that crescent lunge. Arms reach up. Find a breath in as you set up in your crescent lunge. With the exhale, find goal post arms. So we're going to find that same progression of peeling the shoulders towards one another, opening up your chest, lengthening through right leg. With the exhale, pulling the elbows together, curling through the spine, looking towards the belly, bending that right knee. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and it might take a couple reps before you really figure out how this movement should feel. Inhale, opens up your chest, shoulder blades pull together. Exhale, curl through the spine, pull the pelvis underneath you, bending through the right knee. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. So this is very reminiscent of those cat and cow postures we do on all fours. Making it a little bit more challenging because now we're incorporating some balance. Last two, inhale, open. Exhale, curl. We're stretching through that right hip flexor, strengthening through the left leg. Inhale, return to your crescent lunge. Arms reach up. With the exhale, hinging forward, hands plant, stepping left foot up and back for a three-legged dog. Opening up your hip by bending left knee, dropping left heel over towards the right side. If you feel confident in your flip dog, you might start to bend the right knee until that left foot lands. Reach the hips up towards the sky. Open up your chest. Exhale to dismount, bending in the knees, creating this little spring where then you can plant the left hand, reach left leg up, three-legged dog. From here, you know where we're going. You can either come into your full plank or a three-legged plank by keeping the left leg extended, reaching your chest forward. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Yogi's choice here to either stay in a down dog or find a little moment for some water. How are we feeling this morning, you guys? Anybody else have some sore quads from a hike or maybe a run or walk? These legs do so much for us. They carry us from point A to point B. We got to give them some love, but we also got to keep them nice and strong. Let's play around with some back and forth presses here. So with the inhale, we're dropping the knees to a hover. This is your bent knee dog. Hips are pulling up and back. With the exhale, springing forward to your plank pose, but make sure those shoulders don't go past the wrists. Inhale, hips pull up and back, bent knee dog. Exhale, plank. Again, in and out. Choosing to continue with these motions here, or we're going to turn them into some hops. So if you want to go for a hop, you might take a peek in the monitor for a moment. I'm going to go for some hops here. So I'm going to walk my toes a little bit closer towards my hands. Inhale, I'm still coming into that bent knee dog, creating this little spring. And then with the exhale, I'm coming up onto the tippy toes, trying to get those hips up and over the shoulders. Do you guys see that? So I'm trying to bring those hips up and over the shoulder. From here, maybe your toes pick up off the ground and you find a little hop and land. Hop and land. And it's just playful, nothing serious. And if you're continuing with those back and forth presses, we're going to take one more here. Eventually, let yourself come into your full plank pose. Breathe in, breathe out. Dialing the heels over towards the right, opening your left arm up to the sky, finding a side plank, pressing those hips up. A modification might be bringing the left foot in front of the right thigh and pressing into that foot. Last breath in. With the exhale, coming back to your center plank. Dialing the heels over to the left, picking right arm up to the sky. Side plank. Hips press up. Maybe that right foot becomes an assist by placing it in front of left thigh. Wherever you are, last breath. Exhale, back to your plank pose. Breathe in. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nicely done. 2 breaths. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk or find that little hop and land to the front of your mat in a forward fold. Might feel good here to pause for a moment, coming into a gorilla posture. For a gorilla posture, I'm bringing my palms underneath my toes so that the knuckles are on the ground. And I'm opening my elbows out towards the side, kind of like how a gorilla would kind of walk with its arms kind of bent out towards the sides. And you're using that grip to kind of pull the chest down. The knees can be as bent as you like here, so you can be in more of like a deep squat, or you can really lengthen through those hamstrings. We're also stretching our wrists out in an opposite direction from our downward dog and table pose. This should feel really nice to kind of relax the wrists. Sometimes I like to even kind of pick up my foot and massage my hand a little bit. I'll take any massage I can get. Releasing your grip, inhale for your halfway lift, lengthen through your crown. And with the exhale, fold. Inhale, circle sweep, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Entering some balancing postures here. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me, but I want you guys to stay at the top of your mat. Make sure those feet are hip distance apart. Let's grow nice and tall here. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart. As you transfer the weight into the right foot, pick left knee up towards the chest. Beautiful. Let's find 10 toe taps here. So drop the left toes to the ground and then pick them up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and cross that left ankle over right thigh for a figure 4 posture. Now in this figure 4, you can stay exactly as you are, staying upright, Or you can challenge your balance and strength by sitting down into a single leg chair. So sending those hips back, and we're relying on the right foot to really stay grounded into the earth. So not only are we getting a nice hip flexor stretch through the left side, but we're also strengthening through that right glute. We'll find 3 breaths here. If you fall out of it, I want you to return back into it nice and slowly. Keep your drishti, your gaze, on something that is not moving for focus. Last breath here. With the exhale, slowly and with control, start to pick yourself back up. Pull the left knee in towards the chest, and then kick left leg back for your warrior 3 pose. So I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see. Reaching my chest forward, keeping a bend in that right knee, flexing left foot. Arms can stay where they are, or for a little bit of ease for your balance, you might interlace the fingers on top of the right thigh. Maybe you want to go for that airplane variation with the palms facing down, fingertips reach behind you. Here's our last breath. With the exhale, turn this into a crescent lunge. Inhale, reach up, extend through the legs. And then with the exhale, take a dip as you pull the elbows towards the chest. 3 more here. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dip. 2. 1. Inhale, arms reach up. With the exhale, dial left heel down, open up to your warrior 2. As we set up our warrior 2, I'd like for you guys to just make sure that you have a block or prop about 6 inches in front of the right toes. In your warrior 2, the feet are spread apart from one another, but not so spread apart that you lose your foundation. So we want there to be an activity between the right foot pressing forward and back edge of the left foot pressing back. Make sure those hips are where they need to be. You guys know the drill, no sassing in my class. We're keeping those hips right below the shoulders. Arms open up wide. Flowing in and out of this a couple times. Inhale, flip right palm, reverse your warrior. With the exhale, extend your warrior so the right forearm comes into the inner thigh. Inhale, reverse. Maybe you lengthen through that right leg this time. Exhale, extend. Last one. Returning back to your warrior 2, we're going to find our balancing half moon. So that's why I had you guys put that block in front of you. That's going to be your anchor point. So that's kind of where we're heading towards. So as you really plant that right foot into the earth, start to bring right fingertips onto your block as you lift left leg up. Try to keep the left heel in line with the hip here. Keep that foot flexed. And we're not dumping all of our weight into that block. We're just using it as a little bit of an anchor here. Flex that flying left foot to lock in that glute and quad muscle. Use your abdominals to keep that chest open towards the side. 2 more breaths. You guys got this. This is temporary and it's practically over. Landing back to your warrior 2. Lengthen through that right leg. Turn the toes in, finding a wide-legged stance. You can bring your hands to the hips or maybe open your arms into a T. Wherever you are, take a deep breath. Maybe that gaze reaches up to the sky to open your throat. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Find that forward fold. This will be your pose for the next 3 breaths. So if you want to kind of rock the hips from side to side, or take some gentle skandasana poses, dropping down onto one bent knee, and then the other. Maybe holding down center for your last breath. Walking the hands over towards right foot, find your runner's lunge once again. And then stepping left foot to meet right, to at the top of your mat for a forward fold. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Fingertips on the shin. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. And exhale, hands to heart, making sure the feet are hip distance apart. Again, I'm turning just to kind of give you guys a visual, but I want you guys to stay at the top of your mat. Let's grow nice and long out of our waist. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart as you bring the weight into the left foot and peel that right knee up towards the chest. Going for our 10 toe taps here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Feel that burn in the hip flexor. And last one. Taking right ankle and crossing it over left thigh. So finding this figure 4 pose. This is a beautiful expression to stay with your balance. Or we're going to bump it up a notch by finding that single leg chair pose by sinking the hips down. So we're bending through that left leg. Left leg is getting a lot more strengthening in here, whereas right leg is getting that hip flexor stretch. We'll find 3 more breaths here, so stay with it. Stay with that focus. As you exhale, slowly and with control, start to pick yourself back up. Pull the right knee in towards the chest, and then kick the right leg behind you as you hinge the chest forward, finding that warrior 3 variation. Again, if balance is tricky, bring the fingertips interlaced on top of the left thigh. Keep a bend in the left leg. A huge part of this balance is flexing that right foot so that the leg is completely engaged. It's not dead weight. We're engaging it, keeping ourselves strong and lifted. Here's your last breath. Exhale to your crescent lunge. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, dip down. 3 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, dip. 2. Last one. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dial right heel down. Open up to that warrior 2 variation. If the block has migrated, go ahead and bring it towards the front of the left toes and set up in your warrior 2. So make sure the feet are spread wide enough apart. No sassing of that left hip. Pull the hips underneath you. Arms spread wide apart from one another. Feel this warrior energy here. So this is called a warrior posture for a reason, right? This is a posture that you feel in control. You feel strong and grounded. Flip left palm. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, extend your warrior. 2 more here. Maybe you lengthen through that left leg as you come up and out. Exhale, extend. Last one. Inhale, return back to your warrior 2. Bring your sight onto that block in front of left toes. Plant left foot into the ground as you start to lift right leg up and bring the left fingertips towards your block. Again, that block is just a little bit of an anchor. It's not a place that you're hanging out with your weight. The importance of this posture is that you're flexing that right foot so that entire leg is engaged, no dead weight, hips and chest open for the side. Last 2 breaths here. Stay with it. It's not an easy pose, but you are worth the challenge. And guess what? It's time to come out. Find that warrior 2. Lengthen left leg. Turn the toes in. We'll find 1 more wide-legged forward fold. Maybe you choose to take a different arm variation, maybe interlacing the hands behind the lower back so you can really open your chest. Exhale is a slow hinging forward. If those arms are behind the back, really reach the fingertips as if you're touching the knuckles with the ceiling rather than letting those fingertips drop past the shoulder. I want you to keep them the wrists stacked above the shoulders, reaching the fingertips towards the sky. Releasing your grip here for the last 2 breaths. Then walking your hands toward left foot, find your runner's lunge. This time we'll step back into our plank pose. So left leg steps back to meet right. Breathe in. And with the exhale, slowly hinging all the way down to the ground. Arms come alongside of you, one ear to the mat. You might choose to bend the knees here and windshield wiper legs from side to side. And I can let you guys know, if you do have sore quads, this is great to do on a hard floor, because you're kind of getting this massage-like effect of the quads kind of rolling, almost like foam rolling. It's a little lower impact than foam rolling. Depending on how tight your quads are, this does feel pretty intense, though. I'll let you guys know. Beautiful. Maybe even taking some circles there with the legs. And you can let one ear be on the mat. I'm just keeping my chest lifted for the audio component. And then we will go for a quad stretch here. Not going to lie, I've been looking forward to this pose since the beginning of class. So you can bring that right forearm underneath the head. Bend left leg, grab onto foot or ankle. And start this posture by making sure the left knee is as far extended towards the back of the mat as possible. So that might mean that you kind of pick up the quad off of the ground and then replant it back down. Providing yourself with just enough activity of kicking into the palm and then palm pulling the heel back towards the body. So we're not going for our leg lifting up off of our thigh lifting up off of the ground, but we are looking for a nice active stretch through the quad. To bump this up a notch, it might feel really lovely to take a block and place it underneath left quad, depending on how much of a stretch you're looking for. And this also feels nice to kind of gently roll from left to right to get a little massage once again through that quad. So I'm all about getting those free massages when I can. And this is one of those times where you can utilize a prop to enhance. Releasing out of this pose, we'll take it to the other side. So switching out the forearms. Bending the right leg, grabbing onto foot or ankle. And again, starting by really lengthening the right knee towards the back of your mat. Kicking enough into the foot. And then pulling it back with the hand. Again, you might look for that block here as well. But if you know one side is tighter than the other, maybe you only go for the block on one side. You can give yourself that little rocking side to side to massage the quad. And lengthening out of this posture, go ahead and pick yourself back up into your table pose. Taking any movements here within the spine that feel nice. It might feel good to just sink back into a child's pose for a moment. Coming back up to center, and we'll find our half pigeon pose. So for this morning, I'd like to get into our half pigeon in a prone position, but if you prefer that figure 4 style in a reclined position, which I'm sure that Amy did yesterday in her class, you guys can go for that. If you're ready for your prone pigeon, tuck the toes under, lift hips up and back, right leg reaches up to the sky. And then with the exhale, pull right knee towards right wrist. Go ahead and sink yourself down here. It's very important that you make sure that the right thigh is parallel to the long edge of your mat here. Some modifications that might make this pose a little bit more accessible is bringing a block underneath right tush, or opening left knee out to the left so that you're in kind of more of a seated position. Wherever you choose to be, this is your posture. Some people like to puff up their chest for a moment, kind of finding an opening through the chest and throat. Eventually hinging forward. A block underneath the forehead is lovely here to ensure that the neck and shoulders carry no tension. The exhales soften you. I'm sure we could just stay in this posture all day. We do want to go ahead and continue our practice, so let's lift ourselves back up. Bring the palms to the earth, tuck left toes under, return back to that downward facing dog. Take it to the other side, left leg reaches up. Exhale, left knee to left wrist, slowly sitting yourself down. And again, the same rules apply here. You might bring that block underneath left tush this time, or open right knee out to the right. Wherever you are, find a natural progression of movements that inevitably land you into this beautiful stretch through the left hip flexor. It's very easy to want to tense through the left thigh, quad, and hip area. But I want you guys to really take that extra step with the exhale to soften into this posture. And even when you think you're as soft as you can be, I'm sure you can find one little muscle fiber to relax a little bit more. And all good things come to an end. Slowly start to pick yourself back up. And we'll just rotate ourselves onto our back. So I am checking in with the time here. We will pull our knees into our chest, find a nice big stretch through the spine, pressing the lower back onto the earth as you pull the knees in towards the chest. Dropping the feet towards the earth and walking them to the outer edges of your mat, opening the arms into a T and dropping the knees over towards the right, finding a reclining twist. To make this a little bit more intense, you might take the right ankle and stack it over the left thigh. Just make sure you're not pushing down on the knee. In this reclined twist, you want to try to keep both shoulders on the earth. Gaze can be wherever feels best for the neck. If that right ankle is on top of left thigh, go ahead and remove it. Pick the knees back up to center. And exhale, drop the knees over towards the left. Again, you can take that left ankle and stack it over right thigh if that feels good for you. Removing the ankle from right thigh, knees pull back up to the center. And then take any last posture of your choice here. It might feel good to visit a reclined bound angle by letting the soles of the feet come together, knees flop out. You might even give yourself a little self-massage, rubbing the quads and that location where the hip meets leg and leg meets hip. A waterfall posture might feel nice here, extending the legs up towards the sky. maybe a happy baby, bringing the soles of the feet or the hands onto the soles of the feet, pulling the knees in towards the armpits. Maybe you even lengthen your legs here. Wherever you are, find about 3 more breaths before entering your final resting posture, your last pose of the practice. Once you arrive into your final resting posture, just go ahead and take a nice deep breath in and out. And for the end of our class today, I'd like to do something a little different. Something that is a little difficult for me to share with you. Something I've never shared with anyone. And it's this beautiful poem called Here For You. And the person who wrote it is named Michael Larson, and he is a rapper, so it has a nice flow to it, and I'm going to try my best to do it justice. And if there's any hiccups along the way, you guys, I'm sure, will welcome it with love. We're all born into this river without knowing how to swim. And eventually, we learn how to keep the water under our chins. Sometimes this river is so cold to be in, freezing my soul, solidifying my skin. Regardless of how far I see, I never see my travels end. We're carried by the current, being driven by the wind. The scenery will pass, we'll never see again. So we store it up as memories and don't let go of them. We're under a spell, thinking that the river should go straight. We set goals and desires to control our own fate. But all the pain we experience is a result of our expectations, 'cause it's the river's nature to twist and turn. That stuff can burn, and I know it. I have the same conflict, but I try to sit and flow with this river's natural process. Sometimes when I watch myself float downstream, I see the beauty of it all, and it feels like a dream. And at that time, I appreciate the river's force. Some call it God, reality, momentum, force. I stare up at the naked moon, and she stares down at me. Outside false boundaries, the more I look, the more I see. The universe is not something separate from itself, from yourself. I know you feel alone, but that's why I'm here to help. I know you feel alone, but just look up at the stars. And everything that is out there is what you truly are. We gotta learn to see the beauty in each moment of life. Everyone has different paths, and we're seeking the light. The world is divided between peasants and kings, but the truth is everybody's looking for the same thing. Now I want you to know the role you play is a part of the whole. Without you, it couldn't be, and I mean that with compassion. So if you ever need anything, I mean anything at all, I'm here for you. All you gotta do is ask. I'm here for you in the same way that you're here for me. Each person is an intricate piece of infinity. I feel that if you could see what I see, that we as humanity could be free. I'm here for you. Not for any self-centered reasons, because existence is interdependent and all is related, connected in its different manifestations of one single mind. You ain't isolated from the world, even though it feels like that sometimes. I'm here for you. Taking a deep breath in and letting it go. Notice what's arising within you. Maybe this vibration just kind of coursing through you. Over the next 3 or so breaths, slowly start to reawaken. And bringing yourself back up into your seat. Bringing your hands over your heart. I'm here for you in the same way that you're here for me. Each person is an intricate piece of infinity. We'll seal our practice in with our sound of Om, the sound before all sounds. Starting with a cleansing breath, breathe in and out. And for Om, inhale. Thank you all for being a part of this existence. And the love that I am bows to the love that you are. Namaste. Thank you guys all so very much. I'm going to go back into this video and post the actual video of this song with lyrics. It is truly beautiful, and I'm not a huge crazy fan of rap, but I really do believe that the poem in there is something that we could all use a little in our life. So thank you all for creating this space for my creativity to flow. I hope your creativity is flowing as well, and I look forward to taking Kelly Spencer's class tomorrow with you guys. Take care and namaste.